Welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky this week for September 12th through 18th, 2021. We have a first quarter moon to begin the week, some bright planets in the evening sky, and some patterns to look for in the north part of the sky. The first quarter moon. As the moon is moving along its orbit, it's moved a quarter of the way around since we saw it last week. That means the light is on the right. The moon is in a waxing phase. It'll continue to get larger or appear that way every evening until it's full sometime next week. Monday, September 13th, is this month's first quarter moon, and it's in the south part of the sky just as the sun is setting. By the 14th, face the north part of the sky. If you're not sure which way is north, figure out which way the sun rises. Put your right shoulder in that direction, east, and your nose will be facing north. In the north part of the sky for us, here in the northern hemisphere, there are a couple of star patterns that are fun to look for, useful in finding your way around, in navigating. That 7 bright star group called the Big Dipper, we call it the Big Dipper in this country, it has different names in other countries, looks like a cup with a long curved handle or a big spoon up there in the sky. The 2 stars on the end of the bowl of the Big Dipper are called the pointers. They point to a not very bright but very famous star, Polaris, our North Star these days. Polaris is on the end of the handle of the Little Dipper, a much smaller pattern, much more dim stars, much harder to find. If you can find this pattern in the night sky, you know you've got a really good dark sky for observing. And as the moon continues to wax toward full, its light will wash out a lot of the sky as well. So follow the pointers to Polaris. And if you keep going, there's a zigzag shape, Cassiopeia the Queen, sitting on her throne. And by 9 o'clock at night, see if you can find those. A little bit to the left of north is where the Big Dipper pattern is. 7 fairly bright stars. If you think you've got it and you want to make sure, you can measure with your left hand measuring stick. Hold your left arm straight out in front of you. Keep your elbow straight. Spread out your fingers as wide as they'll go. If you put the tip of your thumb on the lip of the Big Dipper, the tip of your pinky finger stretches all the way back to the back of the dipper. It's about a hand span across on the sky. The Little Dipper is much smaller, not even half a hand span across, and the stars are much dimmer and the handle looks like it's bent. See if you can find that pattern as well. And finally, Cassiopeia the Queen, that zigzag shape, or a 3, kind of stick figure 3 in the sky. Now, without the squares, see if you can find those same patterns. Where's the Little Dipper with Polaris on the end of its handle? Polaris is the North Star. There it is, north part of the sky. Handle, cup. Big Dipper, handle, cup. How about Cassiopeia? Zigzag, sideways W, sideways 3, stick figure 3. North part of the sky, those constellations and group patterns are helpful for finding directions. If you can find the direction north at night, where the North Star is, you can figure out your other directions from there. Adding in the lines and names, you can see the Big Dipper and Little Dipper. They're not constellations by themselves. They're parts of Bears, Ursa Major. Part of the Big Dipper is inside Ursa Major. Ursa Minor, Little Bear, with a Little Dipper inside. And the zigzag for Cassiopeia, all in the north part of the sky. By the middle of the week, now face the south part of the sky. This is a little bit out of scale, this image. Jupiter, that bright planet, will not look as big as the full moon. It's a bright star-looking object, but it's way farther away from the Earth than the moon is, so it will appear much smaller, but still pretty bright. And the moon by the 16th has moved past its first quarter. It's now in a waxing gibbous phase, a little bit fatter than half a moon, but not quite full. And it's near the planet Jupiter on the 16th. In that same part of the sky toward the south, that fishhook shape for Scorpius, the scorpion, is visible, sort of crawling along the southern horizon here at the end of summer. And by the 18th, the moon will appear on the other side of Jupiter. It'll be getting closer toward full. Again, not to scale. Jupiter and Saturn do not look like giant blobs up there in the sky. They're going to be bright, star-like objects, a little bit more than halfway up the sky, pretty high, and the moon will be high up there as well. Thanks very much for listening to this week's The Sky This Week. Please keep an eye on Fernbank Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu. Keep an eye on our Facebook page for our Friday evenings at home planetarium programs, and have a great week.